You're listening to the DFS On Deck podcast, brought to you by LineStar, the top-rated DFS tool set and #1 companion for DraftKings, FanDuel, and Yahoo Daily Fantasy. Go LineStar Premium now at LineStarApp.com. Now, here are your hosts, fantasy baseball experts Joe Pisapia and Chris Meaney.
Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? It's me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia, and welcome to On Deck right here on the LineStar app. It is me, it is Chris Meaney, and it's you. And Chris Meaney, I have to say, we are back again on Friday. It's a fun Friday. We were off yesterday because there were only a handful of games. But when last we left you folks on Wednesday with all of this knowledge, if you listened to On Deck, you had a pretty good day, Chris Meaney, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, we nailed it. And I think it was just...
This is a strong A. This is a strong A performance from us.
It was a strong A. Yeah, we got the Nelson Cruz home run call. That was a plus. But you know what? We took some shots on some pitchers, and we went against the grain, and it worked out. Vince Velasquez against Detroit. He ended up having 9 strikeouts through 5 2/3 scoreless innings. We talked about Brad Keller. We didn't really push him too much about playing him. I know you liked him in tournaments.
I did.
You were all over him.
I pushed Brad Keller hard.
And I was with you on maybe not rostering Keller, which would have been phenomenal because he had 7 scoreless, only gave up 4 hits, 3K in Atlanta against that Braves team. But we talked about fading the Braves, and we said Keller is a good ground ball pitcher, doesn't give up a lot of bombs. I think only 10 on the season. It was an opportunity maybe just to get away from Atlanta, and we nailed it there with the under. The Braves, they were shut out. So yeah, overall it was and we talked about, of course,
Goldschmidt again on FanDuel going cheap.
The Cardinals, right? Every day they're undervalued and they're on a run.
Just for the Keller thing alone.
Yeah,
it was so good. Great. And we went bananas on that Yankee game too, which there were 17 runs in that one. So in case you're keeping score at home, there were 60 runs scored in that weekend, that series.
Unbelievable. And you know what? It actually just worked out perfectly for us because it was, yes, the big guys had games, like Edwin had a home run, but it was, you go through that 3-game series and you add up the production from Aaron Hicks, Gleyber Torres, Didi Gregorius, Marwin Gonzalez, and Miguel Sano. Those were the 5 guys that were values in, that entire series. I mean, all of those guys were under 4K. And those were the guys who had big time series. They were just unbelievable in all 3 games. So continue to. There's another one today with the Yankees.
Texting me. I had people texting me, tweeting at me, all this stuff, and people who are even now, like some people. This is that time of year where people will start giving up on their season long and they start playing some MLB DFS because they're just mad and they're trying to they just want to feel alive again. And
they
if you want to
Blake
feel alive
Snell
again,
as
the
their
line
pitcher the rest of the way. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, that's like, oh my god, life sucks. I had Woodruff who's out now. I had Snell. Everything sucks. But this is Joey Gallo, another guy who's going to be gone for a month. But this is why you get the LineStar app, and this is why you listen to On Deck. This is a true story. I had like 3 separate people DM me and say, hey, listen to the show on Wednesday. Followed everything you guys said. Crushed it. Even I played small, and some of them played bigger, and it was hilarious. And they were like, why didn't you do a show Thursday? It's like, because we don't do a show Thursday, man. That's why, because we usually take that day off. But we're back again today. I know, I love it too. And I said, well, look, if you're enjoying the show, go subscribe to the pre-snap. And they said, no, already did it. Already heard that, already went and did it, all 3 of them.
Nice.
So there you have it. So if you haven't done it yet, the pre-snap with me and Chris Meaney right here on the LineStar app, which is basically this show, but NFL and longer shows because it's NFL and there's a lot more to get to, obviously. We are going to be breaking things down. We're going to start with our preview shows in August. So go over there. Anywhere you listen to your podcast, go over to the pre-snap, subscribe, and we'll be there. And before you know it, there'll be some NFL content. We're going to do our previews, go through everything in August. We'll still be doing baseball. Don't worry. We're not going anywhere. Relax. Take a deep breath. I know we're not here on Thursdays. I can't tell you how much slack we get for not being here on Thursdays. It's like 5 games.
I know.
Guys, take a day off if you want. If you don't, I mean, it's 5 games. You figure it out. All right. Come on, 5 games.
I mean, you can always hit us up. We get some questions from some people. I had a question yesterday about, didn't have your picks over on deck.
Oh, yeah, get mad. Like, what the hell? It's like we abandoned our children. It's terrible.
We're here on weekends. We'll be here on the weekend. And there's a lot of games on the weekend. So yeah, we take that day on Thursday. But I love to hear that, Joe. Like people that are listening, because For anybody who's been having some struggles lately, things actually get a little bit easier this time of the year. Some people check out of baseball, they turn their focus over to the football. There's still 2 solid months in
Yeah.
Major League Baseball. We're talking August and September, and there's still a couple solid months. So, we could have some success here in August for some people who are just still starting out, and let's get after it.
I actually one of the dudes that was DMing me about this thing, and he said I tend to also listen to the another major podcast about DFS. Let's say it rhymes with Schmodo Schminders. And he said, you guys were the complete opposite of everything they said. He said, but I played everything you said, and I won a ton of money last night.
Amazing. Even better. I love hearing that, too. Yeah, it's all about the people. We just want everyone.
It was about Velasquez, and it specifically was Velasquez, and it was specifically about Keller against the Braves. It was those two things where they were going the opposite. They were going all in on the Braves, and I was like, no. Have you watching Brad Keller lately? He's been money. So it's time to go be money again. So let's start it up, baby. It's Friday. It's a new day. Yes, it is. And we're going to start with the 6:40 game. German Marquez against Luis Castillo. Look, Castillo's been great. Obviously, the 6:40 start, you know what that means. So Castillo, for the price, return on investment, it's good. I like it. I would obviously fade away. If I like Castillo, that means I'm staying away from the Rockies bats. Marquez at 7.4 is a nice value on FanDuel, but it really, again, comes down to like how you want to, if you're going to put this game into it. But let's just move on to the next one, because that's one that really deserves our attention. It's Soroka at 9K on FanDuel against Arrieta at 7.2. We're very picky here about when we use Soroka. I think this is a night where you can, on FanDuel specifically. Strikeout rate can beat meh, but I think that the Braves will beat Jake Arrieta up, as everybody does, because he's very hittable. I like him there. I don't like him on DK at 9.9. Too expensive for me there with the way offense is. So Soroka on FanDuel only, not DK. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. You're right. 9.9 is really tough on DraftKings for him to return value because he doesn't strike out a lot. But I think he's a great cash game pitcher. I think, you nailed it. It's a phenomenal matchup against Jake Arrieta, who comes in with an 84% contact rate. It's the fifth highest in baseball. He's allowed 128 hits. It's a top 10 mark. So this is what we talked about with Keller. Like, yeah, Keller allows some contact, but he keeps the ball on the ground, where Jake Arrieta just doesn't. Like, it's not a great environment for him in Philadelphia. This is not a good spot for him. So I like the Braves, and I think you can feel good about Soroka being your one arm on FanDuel as even a cash tournament, whatever you want to do. I think the Braves win this game.
All right, now let's move on to the next one here, because that's pretty much all we have to say about that one. But Hyunjin Ryu is taking on Anibal Sanchez. Okay, and this is in Washington. Now, look, we've been very pro Ryu even in the beginning when nobody was buying in. We were buying in because of the way he finished the last year, the second half. I wrote extensively in the Black Book for Baseball about how good he was in the second half. And I even wrote an article on Fantrax about how good he was in the second half. We should all be paying attention to this. This is a little bit longer than an anomaly, and it's carried over into this year. So that being said, the Nationals hit lefties very, very well. Anibal Sanchez has 4 of his last 6 starts been quality starts. I just want to throw this out there. If you are looking for the oppo contrarian play of the evening, it's this one, because the ownership on Sanchez is going to be super low. I'm not saying as a standalone pitcher necessarily at 7.6, but as a secondary pitcher in tournaments on DK at 6.6, holy crap, that's a huge value. And look, I'm not saying that Ryu stinks. I'm not down on him. I'm saying it's an opportunity. I'm not saying you have to take it, but I'm saying I think it's more viable than other people do. And we all know there's a lot of strange that happens. Look at Tanaka going out there last night and getting pwned in the first 2 innings. So these things happen. So Am I crazy? Am I off my rocker here, Chris? Or do you see what I'm seeing, how good the Nationals have been against left-handed pitching this year?
Not just that, but they're the best team in baseball since mid-May. And when I heard that, I had to take a step back a second. I was like, really?
I don't think I heard that. Now you've just made me take a step back. I hope everyone can still hear me, because now I'm further back from the microphone.
The best team in baseball since mid-May, and look at the standings; they're right there. They're closing the gap on the Braves. They're holding a wild card spot down, and their offense has finally started to heat up a little bit, right? Like Trey Turner was out of the lineup for a little bit. Soto had struggled at the start of the season. They weren't really getting anything from Robles or Dozier. Like, they're still not getting a lot from those guys, but they're chipping in. And you look at Ryu, the time to pick on him is when he's on the road. Because at home, his ERA is below 1. He's phenomenal at home, but when he gets on the road, it's flirting with 3. All of a sudden, this guy's walking guys.
He's human.
Yeah, he's at least walked one guy in 6 straight starts. He's walked 7 in his past 3 outings. So maybe he's not as crisp, not as sharp. Of course, there's going to be a little bit of regression.
He's just getting tired a little bit. I mean,
yeah, there's going to be some aggression too, though. Yeah, end of July. This is also what also is another good point. And I just thought about that because you brought it up end of July. 123 innings he has so far this season. I mean, after this outing, it'll be the most he's had in a year since 2014.
It's a good point. And
this
look,
is somebody who doesn't pitch all the time.
And Sanchez has been good. I'm putting it out there.
Yeah,
all right. For the price he has, 5 of his last 7 outings have been quality starts. Okay. So like he's a guy that you can get in there and in the lineup. And I'm telling you, as a return on investment at that price on DK at 6.6, that allows you to do a whole lot offensively. And I think you're going to need some of that Yankees.
I think the bottom line is we just
and those guys.
Yeah, you're right. I think the bottom line is we seek out some offense. We want some runs, and you have to paint a picture in your head. Like if you're on Ryu at that price and he falters, you're basically screwed, to be honest. If you're spending that much money on a pitcher. Yeah. And if it goes the other way and you paint that picture in your head where he gets lit up a little bit and you're not on him and you have a couple Washington bats from a tournament standpoint, you're off to a pretty good start.
Anibal Sanchez tonight is how you can separate yourself and make money. It might not work, but it's absolutely 100% worth a very, very long look. I'm telling you right now, if you're playing single entry tournament, I understand you might not feel it, but I'm telling you, if you're multi-entry, this needs to be in your multi-entry tonight. And if it hits, you can thank me and send me you can send me a nice edible arrangement. It's a nice time of year for that. The fresh fruit. It's very nice. So Diego Castillo against Jacob Wagaspak. I love I love saying that name. It's just so great. But they'll be taking on each other. Actually, this weekend now all of a sudden becomes a really good weekend for the Blue Jays because no Blake Snell now. Now the Rays have gone from, they used to have that thing, we have Blake Snell and some other guys that'll start, but now is another one of those actual starting pitchers who actually starts games, who's now out of the mix for a month, and is going to put a ton of strain on this Rays bullpen. So I am loving all weekend the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, I think it's a good call. I mean, they're cheap on both sites, and 2, you bring up a great point. I mean, we've talked about them before, and I wondered about them about 6 weeks ago. I was listening to the Rays broadcast, and they were talking about their bullpen and just how some of these guys will probably be taxed by, end of August. And it's probably going to happen earlier than that now that there's no Blake Snell. You're right. So another guy that's just going to, in Castillo, is just going to come out and pitch an inning or two. It's like some of these Jays bats. Vlad Guerrero Jr. is obviously very cheap. Biggio is fairly cheap. You're probably going to see some lefties from Tampa out of the bullpen.
I'll tell you what, Smoke is the guy I'm looking for at 2.9 on FanDuel.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Smoke. I'm looking at Biggio, the 2 lefty bats here, at least to maybe jump on them early. That's where I'm going for sure. And if you want to get involved with Vlad too, I mean, look, that 4, 5, 6 right there, 3 for Biggio, 2.8 for Vlad, 2.9 for Smoke. That's a nice little grouping that you can put in along with the Yankees tonight against Andrew Cashner, and you can do well. Speaking of which, Andrew Cashner's taking the mound in Fenway Park against the Yankees. Oh, I'm so excited.
Good luck.
And I don't love Paxton. I got no love for Paxton. No.
Shouldn't.
No.
Shouldn't have any love for him. I mean, the Red Sox just put up 20 runs, 19 runs yesterday.
Yeah. Right, exactly. So look, this is going to be a slugfest. Just get them all. Get as many as you. It's like Pokemon. You just want to collect them all, as many as you can from this game, because this is going to be another one of these slugfest. The Yankees right now are in these bloodbath games where really it's like you're waiting for them, like whoever scores the last touchdown wins. That's pretty much the Yankee game for the last
and the Red Sox bullpen is trash. The Yankees are the only team in baseball to have 2 wins and allowing 12 runs in their team.
Guess what? Aroldis Chapman's been awful over the last week or so. He's walked 8 guys in his last 6 innings. His ERA's over 8. Oh my God. Look, just all tonight's about is guys like Anibal Sanchez, teams like the Blue Jays. How do you work them in so that way you can get the Yankees Red Sox game? That's what I want all the shares. It's going to be a 4.5 hour. I mean, it's like the Lawrence of Arabia of baseball games tonight. I'm telling you, it's going to be that kind of thing.
And lefties And lefties have hit Paxton really well. I know Benintendi has been, for the most part, the last 5 weeks, he's been out of the lineup when a lefty, is on the hill, but he's been heating up a little bit lately. So he's the value. Sam Travis gets in the lineup. I think he's the value. I don't know if they'll go with, I think Mitch Moreland will probably take a seat, but either way, like if Moreland comes in, if you're playing on FanDuel, he's a little bit cheaper. You just want to get as many pieces of this game as possible. Look at Didi now. His price at 5-1 on DraftKings, but guess what? FanDuel still snoozing 3-7. I mean, he was 2-9. He was 2-9 in that Twin series, but still 3-7.
We owned him every day. Every day.
Oh, we owned him every day.
Every day. He was
I think he had 10 RBI, 10 or 11 RBI in that.
The over under is 11 on this one today, right?
Yeah, and I'm picking the over.
I'm picking the over. It's over. 100% over. All right, Dario Argazal and Zach Wheeler, who could possibly be making his last start as a Met. I don't know, there's a lot of Syndergaard buzz, but you never know here. So Wheeler's going to be taking on Dario. And look, at 9-3, he's basically the same on both sides, 9-2 on DK. He's a fine, like, simple middle-of-the-road guy tonight. In fact, if you want to, like, scale down a little bit, go with a Zach Wheeler at home against the Pirates and take Anibal Sanchez. I'm fine with that. Like, because you're going to need to be very efficient with your pitching. You just need to be the next guy I'm going to talk about, obviously, is a little bit more expensive. But I think when you look at it overall, Chris, I feel pretty good about them. And I also feel, I don't want the Mets bats necessarily. Cano at 2.7, I'll still keep rolling with the hot bat against right-handed pitching. But other than that, it's more about, for me, just cherry picking some pitchers, because I already told you how in love I am with the Red Sox and Yankees game tonight. So how do you feel about Wheeler at this price? Do you think this is a trap or a good return on investment?
I think for tournaments, I usually have a rule. I don't like to start a pitcher the first, outing after IL stint, but he hasn't been on there too long. He pitched still in this month in July. So, and it is the Pirates, you're right. So I think it's fine from tournaments. I probably won't go there in cash, but I'm fine with the tournaments. I like some of the right-handed bats. I know I'm with you. I don't want to stack really the Mets. Alonso obviously is a beast, but maybe Frazier. So far, a small sample size, but Dario is allowing a 308 average, 361 WOBA to right-handed bat. So I would maybe go there. Conforto as well is pretty cheap. He's getting to that point where if you're playing on FanDuel as well, take a shot on him. I know he's got some pop. I mean, 3.5 is a pretty decent price for him, but Cano at 2.7, you can't ignore it. We've been talking about that all year, like just as a punt little value play in tournaments. You got to do it. All
right. So the chalky guy of the night is going to be Zach Greinke, and it should be. It's a good it's a good ballpark factor in Miami, a lineup that strikes out a ton. Zach Greinke, by the way, over his last 20 starts, ready for this, 2.56 ERA, 0.92 WHIP. I mean, he's been amazing. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, you could probably get him, Anibal Sanchez, and Yankees Red Sox, and it all works. But you need that thing like Sanchez to work as well in a tournament tonight. I think it'll be good. Look, you also, the other kind of X factor in this is you finally get David Peralta back in this lineup full time, which I think is huge. When you get the middle of the order bat back in the lineup, it's a good opportunity for him tonight against Sandy Alcantara too, a right-handed pitcher. So I really like this. I like Escobar in this lineup too. I know he's a little on the expensive side of 4-1, but him and David Peralta at just 3.5, that's another decent value. But Greinke to me is the good kind of chalk, and I think very safer than Ryu tonight for sure for me in cash game. I'll
have a lot of exposure to Greinke. I love him both sites, like him in tournament arm, and I like him as a cash arm. And yeah, you're right, some lefties in there. Peralta's only 3.5 on FanDuel, so they've kind of forgotten about him, that he's been out of the lineup. So he's in a pretty good spot. Lefties are the way to go. 9 home runs against Alcantara. So yeah, all of those guys, they'll switch over, right? Marte will switch over, and Escobar will switch over, and both of those, Marte and Escobar, have been really solid all year long.
They
better
really
against lefties, but they're in good spots. They're fine.
All right, you got Kyle Hendricks going into Milwaukee, so I don't want him, and I never want Gio Gonzalez. So let's move on to the hitters. So look, Javier Baez at 4.3 is a really good value tonight. He's swinging a hot bat. I like Baez against the lefty and Gio Gonzalez in that ballpark. I think he is the one I pick out from that lineup. And the one off that I'm picking out from the Milwaukee lineup is Keston Hiura, also swinging a hot bat right now. I mean, the guy's he never should have been sent down in the first place. It was just stupid, but his price is really caught up on FanDuel to 4.1. Obviously on DK, Javier Baez is very expensive, 5.2, and Keston Hiura is 5.2. So I understand it's tougher. I get it, but this brings me back to the earlier thing of why guys like Anibal Sanchez are really worth a look tonight, because it allows you to get pieces like these guys who otherwise you couldn't. And it's not a great night of pitching, especially if Ryu tanks. If Ryu tanks, I don't see a pitching performance on this board where somebody's going to drop 12 Ks on somebody. You know what I mean? There's no Garrett Cole, Verlander, Scherzer type performance that I'm worried about tonight.
No, there really isn't. And Baez is a great call. I mean, he's got a 474 WOBA against left-handed pitching. That's the top 7 mark in baseball. He's hitting 370 against left-handed pitching. That's why he's priced so high. I mean, that's a top 10 mark in baseball as well. So I think he's worth it if you can find a way to get him in. I know Brian has been really good against lefties too. It's expensive, but you're right. Like, just spend down on pitching and get up. These are the 2 games. These are 2 game stacks. Red Sox, Yankees, and Cubs and Brewers. I think there's going to be runs on both sides. And you mentioned some Milwaukee bats. And for Hendricks, yeah, a decent ratio guy, but gives up a lot of contact. I mean, he enters with a 79% contact rate and a 22% line drive rate, which is top 5 in baseball. So those Milwaukee bats, I mean, on FanDuel, they're cheap. Like Thames is cheap. Braun is cheap. Even Moustakas is not going to really put a hole in your wallet. So
there's another tournament arm too we're going to get to in a bit that I absolutely love tonight.
I like this next one, actually. I don't mind Michael Pineda. I don't mind him.
I know you were going to say that because you and Michael Pineda I guess you guys went on a cruise together once or something because you just love this guy.
I don't know.
Did you own him back in the day when he was?
No, you know what? I never owned him. You know what it is? It was at the start of the season. It was my love for the Twins. I thought they were the breakout squad, and I thought that he would be able to do enough as a free pitcher. Just like he doesn't walk anyone. He's got a 1.82 walks per 9. He's starting to strike guys out now. He's at least had 8 strikeouts in 3 of his past 4 outings, and his last one came against Oakland, a team that does not strike out. And he's only allowed more than 3 runs once since May 5th. I mean, that's pretty solid. Actually, April 30th against the Astros. So it's been 3 or fewer in every single outing except for 1, which came against the Royals in June. He's just been consistent. And I know he's going to get the run support tonight against Dylan Cease. Like, that's not even a question in my mind. So I think he's just a decent mid-value. I know 9K is a lot, but I don't mind it. I feel like the Twins are going to get the win. He's just.
I like somebody better, but I agree where you're coming. I think he's got a better shot for a win than normal.
Yeah, I mean, he just crushed the White Sox not long ago. 8K
right.
6.
Yeah, so I actually think Pineda's okay. I think he's worth it, and Eddie Rosario's definitely worth the 4.1. Nelson Cruz at 4.2. Those guys in the middle of that order are just
all these guys.
They're just great right now. I mean, they're just and obviously DK a little bit harder. So I probably fade them on DK, but on FanDuel, I want all of them I can possibly get. Jose Urquidy against Jack Flaherty. I can't anymore with Jack Flaherty. I just can't do it, especially against the Astros. Nope. Yeah. So just a hard pass there. However, there's another group of guys too, this Astros lineup too, that you got to account for. I mean, you just have to tonight because Flaherty's been so awful, and that especially means the lefties like Michael Brantley. And also Jose Altuve, who's been swinging hot bat too. Look at Altuve's price on FanDuel, moved up to 4.4. Like a week ago, it was 3.8.
I know.
I mean, just a huge difference because he's been hitting bombs all over the place lately. So
yeah, Flaherty's been really bad. Would you go to Urquidy at all? Do you think about him at 5K? I know the Cardinals they've been our team, really. I mean, they're on a heck of a run. I think they've won 13 of 15.
See, that's the problem is they've been really good lately. Yeah, and Goldschmidt's been hot. So I'm going to say no. Yeah. I think this is another slugfest. Like I look at this one. Right. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of just going to be everyone beating up each other again. Yeah. And, Goldschmidt's price has gone up too now. Now it's 3.7. I know Paul DeYoung's been very hot too. So now that we're getting closer to 4, when Goldschmidt was 3.2 in the beginning of the week and hitting bombs, we were all over him. We kept saying, start him. It's got to turn around. And it did. Now it's turned around. Now I'm less in love with it. Now it's like, I don't know if I like you anymore as much because now it costs me if you fail. I'll tell you what, this is the next guy I want to talk about. Okay. He's at home. He's against the Cleveland Indians. And his name is Jake Junis. He's my favorite tournament arm of the night. 7.8 on FanDuel, 8.5 on DK. He's gone 6 or more innings over his last 3 starts, 23 Ks, 7 walks over that span. The last outing he had against the Indians, and he basically just destroyed them. So I love this one tonight. I think this is one of your low-cost guys. And again, you're looking for salary relief on DK. 8.5 is very good. The FanDuel price is even better. And a night where I think you need a ton of offense, I think Jake Junis can get it done at home, and I think this lineup can support him enough against Plesac.
All right. This will be the 5th time he's faced Cleveland. Yeah, and you're right. He's been fairly good, especially in that last outing. Only allowed 2 hits through.
I'm doubling up on Royals. I'm getting. I mean, Brad Keller, Jake Junis. I'm all in. I'm all in, Meaney. I'm all in.
You are, and you know what? You make a good point. So it's not a bad call. And I you know what? I honestly would rather just take that crazy shot in the dark with Urquidy just at 5K, but I don't mind this. And Plesac is nothing special either, so he could get the run support. Like Plesac is a guy who gives a lot of contact, doesn't strike out a lot of guys. So, I mean, that could go Jacob Junas's way.
All right, let's move on to Lance Lynn, who's expensive. He's in that 10K range all over the place. He's got a good matchup. He's had a really good run here too. He's had 3 double-digit K performances over his last 5 starts. So he's really, the strikeout rate's been tremendous. Tough assignment though. Good pitcher ballpark, but tough assignment against the A's. I still prefer Greinke for the same amount. I just think it's a easier path for Greinke to the W than Lance Lynn tonight. I'm not saying Lynn's wrong. I'm saying I prefer Greinke. Do you think they're even, or do you think one above the other?
No, I prefer Greinke too. I think it's not a huge gap, but I love the matchup. Obviously, I think he's going to be able to get some run support, and they should be able to. Texas should be able to hit around Mengden just a little bit. I mean, he enters with an 87% contact rate. That'd be number 1 in baseball. If he had enough innings to qualify, and then he's got a 43% hard hit rate. So. But I won't really roster Lynn. I don't like to pick on Oakland. I know that, sometimes their offense is really hard to judge whether they're, if they're going to be able to score some runs. Like sometimes they're in good spots and they're disappointing. I think it's probably because of the ballpark that they play in the majority of the time. Is like you said, it's a pitcher-friendly ballpark, but they don't strike out a ton. So I won't go there with Lynn. And Lynn has been good, but he's allowed the 6th most hits in baseball. Like he is giving up some contact. You look at the game log, like 7 hits, 8 hits, 6, 9. Against the Angels 4 outings ago. So Oakland could get 7 to 9 hits here, and they probably won't strike out a ton. So I don't think I'll go there with Lynn. I think I'll fade him. I think I'll pass.
All right, so let's move on to Baltimore right now, because there's somebody we need to talk about. It's somebody who's been on a very hot streak lately, and he's just 3-3. He's a guy that over his last 33 at-bats has 13 hits, 4 home runs, 9 RBI, and it's Anthony Santander. And for 3-3 on FanDuel, this is a great lineup builder guy. Now, DK, obviously a little bit different there. It's not terrible. It's 4-5. It's expensive, but the guy's red hot. He's hitting basically 400 over the last week, and hitting with some power too. He's facing Nick Tropiano. Obviously, the Angels have had some turmoil there. Matt Harvey gets DFA'd. So, boy, it didn't take long for the feel-good story of Matt Harvey's good start to fade, did it?
No,
we didn't even talk about it.
He doesn't even have a team now.
Yeah, I know. It's like, and he had this brilliant start, and it's like, that shining moment, and his friend died, and he picked up the ball, and he was great for one more night, and then he DFA'd a week later.
He gone.
That's baseball. But really, for me, there's not much else I'm looking for in this game. That's the one thing I'm targeting. It's not a Trout night at 5-8, not with what's on the board, not the way it looks for me anyway. But Santander is a guy that I'm cherry picking out of this game. Is there someone you're cherry picking, or do you want to fade this one altogether?
No, that's a good call. I think there'll be some runs. I mean, there were a ton of runs in this game yesterday. It didn't look like we were going to get the over in this game yesterday, but we ended up getting 18 runs. I think there'll be a lot of runs here. Tropiano is he's not a great pitcher. He's a fly ball guy. So some of these guys in Baltimore will be in play as well. I mean, Trey Mancini, VR. Cisco is not I know I don't like to spend on catchers, but he's one that I would consider in this spot as well. Chris Davis is checking out on the LineStar app as a value at 2.5. Why not? Tropiano is a fly ball guy. He always has been a fly ball guy. He's allowed home runs. And even so far in 48 AAA innings, he's allowed 8 homers. So I think he can go the other way. Charge probably a little bit too expensive in Ohtani, but Upton, Simmons is a contact guy. David Fletcher leads baseball with a 93% contact rate. He's the hardest guy in baseball to strike out. So he usually sets the table for the guys.
Yeah,
so
2.9 is a great value for him on FanDuel. 2.9 for Fletcher is terrific. All right, Daniel Norris and Kikuchi. You say Kikuchi, I say yes, please, because I'm going to take Nick Castellanos in this one, 3-3. I like that matchup for him against the lefty. I don't love either of these offenses. I just don't.
So I thought about when a pitcher, like, should we go here? I was looking just deeper into. I know they're so cheap, just no dice.
No,
not
for me. See, this game reeks of like 4 2/3 from everybody, and just
I wish I had more confidence in Kikuchi, and I just don't. I mean, even the Tigers. I mean, they strike out more than anybody in baseball. But both of these pitchers, they allow a ton of contact. 80% for Norris. Kikuchi's 81%. That's both in the top 20. They both allow top 15 in hits. So I feel like there could be some runs. But it's like, where do you go, right? There's just nowhere really to go besides Castellanos, who's the one professional hitter in Detroit's lineup. And the one professional hitter in Seattle's lineup is Vogelback. Like, seriously? And he's not even, like, he's got a lot of holes in his
Domingo Santana's not in the lineup. I mean, no Mitch Haniger. Yeah, it's a whole different thing. Here, I'll make you feel better. Yosei Kikuchi over his last 73 innings has just 54 strikeouts. You feel better now?
Yeah.
And 30 walks. Okay, so
Yeah, he's awful.
yeah, there you go.
All
Have I
right,
shaken
thanks
you
for
of that
talking me.
notion? You're
Thanks for
welcome.
talking me out of it. Yeah.
Sometimes you got to look at the big picture. No, you're right. And look, this is what's the beauty of DFS, right? Is even the sun shines on a dog's ass someday, but sometimes it's not. You just can't do it anyway. And I'll tell you the other thing too is I'm fading Joey Lucchesi. I know he's going to be a very popular choice tonight. I like Lucchesi as a pitcher. We've taken some shots with him this year. I don't like him against San Fran. They've been really good, and I'm not going to do it. And I think it's a trap. And I think guys like Brad Keller, again, guys like Anibal Sanchez have a much better potential return on investment. Even your boy Michael Pineda, I think I like better than Lucchesi tonight.
Yeah, you should.
So, all right, betting line wise, what are you looking for, Chris?
All right, so we'll go with the teams straight up. I like the Braves. I like Arizona. I like Minnesota, Houston. And I do have Cleveland down here, but you got me a little hesitant about the Indians, especially yesterday. They couldn't score a lot of runs against KC. But those are the teams I like straight up. I think you can get behind the Angels by 2 and the over. And then there's just a lot of overs that I like. Chicago and Milwaukee over 9.5. Boston and New York over 11 runs. I think you could even get crazy and tease it. You want to go over 13, 14 runs, get yourself some really good odds. Woo. Yeah, if you would have did it yesterday, I was looking at it. 14 runs was plus 400. I mean, that's big time. 4 times your money right there. There's going to be some runs scored in that game. And then Texas, Oakland, I believe that there's going to be under 2. I'm talking about fading Lance Lynn. I think Texas will be able to have some success against Megden. So there's the betting lines right there.
All right, it's time to call our shot, Chris Meaney, and I'm sure there's going to be an abundance of options. But for me, I'm going where my heart is, and that's Andrew Cashner, because I love trolling Andrew Cashner, and he is pitching for the Red Sox against that giant Yankee lineup tonight. So I didn't get the Didi home run the other day. I'm just on the Didi wagon right now. So Didi had the home run when I talked him up, and then I picked him for a home run. He didn't hit the home run, but I'm picking him again for the home run. I think he gets back on the home run wagon. He's red hot, swinging a hot bat here, hitting probably 5th in the order tonight against Andrew Cashner. So Didi Gregorius is going to go yard. How about you, Meaney? Who you got?
Yeah, I'm going to stay in the same game. I guess I'll take the other side of it against James Paxton. Let's go with JD Martinez against James Paxton. It's the guy who hits lefties pretty well.
Again, continues to be a value 4-1 on FanDuel tonight.
I mean, I know it's the Red Sox, but there's 3 guys more expensive than JD Martinez on his team, like DraftKings. Like that just
on DraftKings, he's 4-5. You are not. Look. He's still JD Martinez, and we all know this too. JD Martinez is one of these guys that can flip the switch and have one of these 3 home run games. He can be one of these guys that goes on a tear this whole weekend potentially. So just keep that in mind as you're going through that JD is a value right now in that lineup. I know that sounds insane, but the top of this order is all 5K on DK. The top of this order is all more expensive than him, except for Xander Bogaerts on FanDuel. So JD is the best return on investment for sure. And James Paxton, I think, is exactly what he needs to get hot, because Paxton's been, I guess the best word is uninspiring, Chris, right?
Yeah, he has been. He's been very uninspiring, underwhelming. He's not
a lot
going
of unders.
Yeah, a lot of unders. He's not going deep into ball games. And you know what? He's a fly ball pitcher. He has been so far this year, 39% fly ball rate. So I think, again, just attack this game. If you can find a way to get these guys in, attack the value where you can, whether it's a Sam Travis, Didi's an automatic, Labor Torres, some of these guys, you just want a piece of this game.
All right. If you want a piece of this podcast, you better listen and subscribe to On Deck, and you can get this show all the time. We'll be back again for the weekend edition. And while you're at it, subscribe as well to the Pre-Snap, our football show on LineStar App, coming out very soon, and get your fantasy football Black Book 2019 #1 in fantasy sports. We are crushing it, man. We are absolutely just all over. Chris Meaney did the DFS chapter. It's going to get you ready. I just did the full update on the paperback. When you get that, the cheat sheets have been updated too. If you want to purchase those, the information's in the book. So go get your Black Book. That'll do it for me and Chris Meaney. You can follow us on Twitter at Joe Pisapia17, at Chris Meaney, and at LineStar App. And make sure you download that LineStar app while you're doing all this too. You have a busy day ahead of you with all these things to do on the internet. But it's Friday, so no one's really watching you work anyway. So just go do it. So that'll do it for me and Chris. There's only one thing left to do, and that's step out of the on deck circle and into the batter's box and go yard. We'll see you next time, kids.
You've been listening to the DFS On Deck podcast, brought to you by LineStar. Hit subscribe, tell a friend, and stay tuned for the next episode from fantasy baseball experts Joe Pisapia and Chris Meaney.